the couch, the dealer, and the words that cut deeper than any knife. You remember the grin, right? The one I wore when she got 6 months? Well, by the time I was done with her second sentence, she wasn't just sleeping on a couch, she was sleeping on my couch. In my room. With her spine pressing against metal bars while I gamed in the next room, volume turned up just loud enough to remind her who owned the house now. But that's not the revenge that broke her. No, that came later. In 4 words I didn't plan. 4 words that fell from my mouth like acid and burned through 17 years of her delusion. But before I tell you exactly what I said, you need to understand the architecture of her suffering. Picture this: college acceptance letter in my hand. A year off between high school and higher education, my stupid thing, my grandparents called it. But they made me a deal. Work, study, live free. Who wouldn't take that? Me. That's who. Because free rent wasn't the prize. The prize was positioning. While she rotted in county jail, I moved. Methodically. Her property? Shoved into a storage unit with the same care she'd shown my childhood. Her room came my room. My old space transformed into a gaming sanctuary with LED lights and surround sound. And her? She came home to find her kingdom reduced to a couch. Not just any couch. A metal-framed, spring-loaded, spine-destroying instrument of torture that pressed into her herniated discs every time she shifted. Every morning, I'd watch her rise slow, agonized, tears in her eyes from the pain, and I'd smile into my cereal bowl. "Good morning, Mom. Sleep well." She'd limp to the bathroom. I'd turn up my game volume. She'd cry out when she bent to pick up her shoes. I'd get a headshot and cheer. Slow, painful, delicious. Time skip. We're back in the old house, the house where Alicia drowned, where Mark overdosed, where my childhood went to die. And my mother? She's made her back worse. Not through fate, through choices. Through refusing physical therapy, through demanding stronger meds, through manipulating the only people left who still loved her. My grandparents. She convinced them to illegally procure drugs, made the connections, handled the exchanges. They just supplied the money and the desperation. I found out when I came home early from class and saw my grandmother counting cash on the kitchen table, my mother whispering on the phone in the next room. I argued. I begged. I showed them the statute's federal time, mandatory minimums, grandparents in prison orange. My grandfather agreed. Finally, someone with sense. But my grandmother? I had to take care of my little girl. That phrase, that poison, that same sentence that had enabled her to throw me away at age 2, to watch me beaten at 13, to lose 2 children through negligence. My little girl. 40 years old and still her little girl. So I made an anonymous call. Tipped off local law enforcement with dates, times, dealer descriptions. Waited for the raid that never came. Failed revenge. Or so I thought. But here's what I didn't plan. The night after the failed tip, she came at me, screaming about her missing pills, still hiding them, still moving them, childish but necessary, accusing me of sabotage, of hatred, of being a bad son. And something in me broke. Not the way it broke when I was 13. Not the way it shattered when Mark died. Something colder. Something that had been waiting 13 years for exactly this moment. I looked her in the eye, really looked, the way she used to look through me, and said 4 words. You were never mother. Not shouted, not screamed, spoken. Like a diagnosis, like a death certificate. Like the final autopsy of a relationship that had been dead for decades. She collapsed. Not physically, though, her knees buckled. She collapsed internally. I watched the delusion drain from her face. The narrative she'd built where she was the victim, the martyr, the mother who did her best. It all just evaporated because it was true. She was never mother. She was incubator. She was obstacle. She was the woman who birthed me and then spent 18 years proving that biology is the weakest bond of all. But here's what you don't know yet. Those words, they were part 3. The failed drug tip, the hidden pills, the couch torture appetizers, the final revenge is coming. And it doesn't involve words. It doesn't involve hiding medication or anonymous tips. It involves paperwork. Signatures. The legal system that failed me as a child finally working as my weapon as an adult. Because I found something in my grandfather's files. Something he didn't know he had. Something that proves my mother committed fraud the night Alicia died. Fraud that carries no statute of limitations. Subscribe and turn on notifications. Part 6 drops tomorrow, and that's where the final revenge unfolds, because some revenges end with suffering, some end with prison, but the best ones? They end with you watching from the courtroom gallery, while she realizes she signed her own confession 17 years ago.